Thanks for joining us today on Big Talk. Here are your hosts, Cindy Miskew and Sophia Trujic.
Welcome. Today on Big Talk, we're talking with heart-centered holistic healer Robin Rule. Hope you enjoy it. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good.
I see your arm looks much better this time.
It does.
Does it feel much better?
It's getting there.
It's good.
Still takes time. At least it didn't break.
Yeah, but you're being more careful now,
Yes.
right?
Well.
Well,
you know me.
Maybe our guest will have a way of helping you.
Maybe.
Maybe.
You never know.
Exactly. Why don't we ask Robin?
We should.
Yes.
Welcome, Robin.
Hello, ladies.
We're glad to have you
I'm
here.
so glad to be here, Cindy. Thank you, Sophia. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you. So, tell us a little bit about yourself and about the different ways you practice healing.
Okay. Well, as you introduced me, I am a heart-centered, holistic healer. That's whole being healing. So my feel-in to healing with humans is emotional.
Okay.
That's why I say heart-centered. Oftentimes people come to a calling to heal or a recognition of the need to heal through different avenues, like someone who works with nutrition,
Okay.
is concerned with the body, say,
Right.
physically, but recognizes that it's all connected and then begins to work on mental patterns and emotional wounding through that.
Right.
Well, my access point is emotion. I've always dwelt most comfortably in the realm of emotions. I'm an empath, so a truth feeler.
Right.
I feel into. But the holistic healing that I practice incorporates and encompasses a whole being approach that in order to heal wounds, rise above patterns that keep us limited, keep our lives small, ultimately even create physical diseases and imbalances, we need to look at emotion, mind, spirit, and body.
Right.
So that's the whole being, holistic healing. Also, I am a mother of two little beauties, ages 11 and 9.
Oh, nice ages.
And yes, they inform much of my work and path
I bet.
and healing and growth. And I also describe myself as a witchy practitioner.
Well, I've heard of those.
Okay, yeah. Yes. Witch is still very, so I
Yes.
say witchy. And my spin on that, which I'm quite fond of, is woman in touch with Shakti. So the W-I-T is woman in touch with Shakti. And that's divine feminine energy.
Nice.
That's very nice.
Primal life force that animates the universe in the Hindu tradition.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, and I feel very called to work with and connect with divine feminine energies. That's rising on the planet today.
Yes.
And yeah, we can talk a little bit about that
Oh,
because it has
that's
quite a bit to
big.
do
That's
with
big.
horses
Yeah.
as well. In terms of when I say divine feminine, it's not women, men, it's archetypal energy. So a feminine energy, yin, receiving, flowing, allowing, yielding, passive, nurturing. Then a masculine energy would be yang.
Right.
And then more what we're familiar with, because our society
It's very yang.
is patriarchal, and we've grown up in it, so we know it. But the balance is tipping to bring us up to balance,
Right.
to wholeness. Yeah, so that's a little bit about me in a nutshell.
Wow. So how does feel
Yes.
stand for, like, the...
Okay. Well, okay. So I'll back up a little bit to share. So I'm a heart-centered holistic healer. This is my approach, is working primarily with women who are looking for balance, wholeness, connection, direction, purpose, passion in their lives. Okay. Try to spin this into a shorter yarn. My background also is in film and TV acting.
Yep.
That's how I
how we
connected
met.
with the lovely Cindy Miskew. But for some years now, my I do this to speak in place of words. The path has been unfolding, and I haven't known exactly what do I want? What is it? Like, is it acting? Yes or no? And is it the healing? And in what way? Yes or no? And horses have always been there in my life since I was a little girl, 8 years old, really sensitive, prone to anxiety, would horseback ride, called to connect with nature and animals, and horses in particular. And so I connected with them very meaningfully from an early age. And then they've been with me off and on through my whole life. The only way to connect with them that I knew of was through riding, and cost was sometimes prohibitive, so I wasn't always able to be with them. But whenever I could, in teens and 20s and 30s and into 40s, would ride just to be with these beings. So they've always been there. I collage, and they're in every single collage that I've ever done. And a couple of years ago, when I determined I really need to get clear, what is it? Like, I was a full-time mom for my kids' childhood, but they're 11 and 9 now, so
a little more independent.
What doing, Robin? What doing? The answer arrived with really lovely, peaceful clarity, and it was to integrate my love of horses and their lifelong presence in my life, their soul connection, with my holistic healing work. And so I got to work looking for a modality of, and there are a number of acronyms here, like EAL is equine assisted learning. EFW.
So there's a lot out there.
There are equine facilitated wellness.
Isn't it funny? I never knew that.
Yeah.
Never knew
so
that.
while you go, you know, you get a Googling, and then how did, like, so what is right?
Get a Googling.
Get a Googling.
Get a Googling.
Trademark Robin Rule 2019. But this is another thing too. You know, when you're in the flow, things are easy. So I had known of a couple of modalities. I'm a trained counselor, and one of the women I did my counseling certification with went through equine facilitated wellness, that route. So I knew about that, and I partnered with her as a client doing that, and I received the benefits and knew, like, this is it. So I loved it, but found for me the training, the approach was a little too clinical, just for me. I mean, I've got a crystal point and a force forelock here, right? So I'm not, and I'm wearing a mala. So I was looking for something more holistic, and I found it in FEEL, which is Facilitated Equine Experiential Learning. They're a training cohort based in Ontario, and they based their work on the Epona Quest work of Linda Kohanov, and she's based in Tucson, Arizona. And if you guys are at all interested in this, or people watching are, she's written so many books. Riding Between the Worlds is beautiful, and her whole approach to the work with horses is an equine guided healing approach. It's very spiritual, it's based on energy, and so I went and I trained up with the good people at FEEL and certified, and I have just officially launched Truth and Beauty, Equine Guided Healing.
Nice. Yeah. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes, very much so.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Can anybody become a FEEL facilitator?
I think yes, in theory. So it's a rigorous program. It's a 6-month program, and you go, I don't know, hours off the top of my head, I don't remember, but you go 3 times. I love that I'm doing this. I'm sitting out.
Sound like a horse.
I don't, What are you doing, Robin? 3 times, 3 visits, and then you've got practicum work to do in between the 3 visits. If you love horses, if you want to partner with them, rather than employ them as tools.
Right.
And that's one thing, I'll just make a side note. There are so many equine guided healing modalities, equine assisted learning, therapy, and wellness. I encourage people to be discerning when they're looking for practitioners, and I'm so happy to connect people with really lovely practitioners if they're interested.
Right.
Because different people are doing it for different reasons.
Yep.
So that's all I'll say about that, just to keep it nice and positive. What's wonderful about their approach is that they honor the horse as a sentient being. So the horse is partnering with you. And the idea, with it being very spiritual in approach, is that the horse wants to help humans. It's
Yes.
a consensual agreement. So unlike a school horse and riding program with sad, deadened looking eyes, so sick of kids, kicking it, they want to work with
Yes.
with people. And so, to be a field practitioner, I would say if you love horses, if you feel a connection, you don't have to have tons of horse experience. I didn't. Like, I'd been with them on and off,
Right.
but not like as a horse woman.
Yeah.
Just the desire to connect with them in a heart-centered way, to honor them as sentient beings, as partners, to want to help people, because that's ultimately what it is. Yeah. So in
It's kind
theory,
of like,
you could.
it's kind of like you and the horse become one.
Like the facilitator? you
Yeah,
mean?
like is it? I mean, when I say that, I almost get that picture from Avatar with the horse and the rider, and
Well, do you know? Do you know what
yeah.
though?
you know what I'm saying? They
Yeah.
connect.
Yes, they had to have a
Yeah,
connection,
yeah.
and then the
Exactly.
horse, their tail and everything
Exactly.
connected.
That's what I'm getting.
Oh,
And that's
I
what I'm
love
getting.
that.
That's what I'm
Have
getting
you seen
from
the
it.
movie?
Have you seen the
I
Avatar?
have.
We think
So,
about
yes.
that. Yes, yes. And she
Yes.
said through the whole thing,
Yeah,
you
so
have to
that's how you
connect.
connect
Oh, I
and you
love
become
that you
one,
said
right?
that. Yes. I mean, it's funny. We hear that, and I'm like, well, that sounds very. But yeah, you know what?
That
Like,
is-
it is
yeah.
correct.
Okay.
Yes. Because again, with holistic healing, we'd say we are all one.
Yeah.
It is all.
Exactly.
And yes, so it's this willingness to connect. And even when you get a good riding instructor, like I made a comment just now about a school horse whose soul, unfortunately, is, he's dissociated and he hates his job. But a school horse who is loved up and
Yeah.
treated as a sentient being.
Yeah.
When you're learning to ride, and again, if anyone wants to know about good places to learn to ride, I can recommend really lovely practitioners there too. When you're learning to ride, I can think of my instructor having said to me, "You're the centaur. Like you're not yanking on horse's face,
You're one.
and
Yeah.
I'm not going to do
You're
the arms
part of the
again."
horse.
That's right.
Yeah.
And the horse, they
connect.
Yes. I mean, that's the whole about this
Exactly,
work
right?
is the energetic connection.
Yeah, you spiritually one kind of.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
Animals have so much to teach us.
They do.
So,
Exactly.
so again, with what we spoke about consciousness on the planet shifting, the more we reconnect with nature, and thank you for saying that about one, you become one, the more we drop out of our minds and connect in a somatic, a body intelligence way with nature, the more receptive we are to the medicine, and that's the shamanic term,
Yes.
that animals have to offer.
Exactly.
So I make a joke about goats, peace goats, but so they do all have so much to teach
They
us.
do.
They do.
But horses, okay, I get so excited here. Ground. Horses, they're prey animals. Their survival over millions of years,
They've
their
been around for a
species
long time.
survival,
Yeah.
millennia,
Yeah.
right? And they're prey animals.
Exactly.
It is dependent on their ability to sense and respond to threats in their environment.
Right.
And they do this, I'll say two main ways for the purpose of our conversation. Through their physical senses, which are really finely honed. They can hear your heartbeat from 4 feet away. Right, it's crazy.
That is.
They
I can hear
sense shifts in muscle tension, increases in heart rate and breathing pattern. They need to know this. Someone's getting agitated, someone's getting excited. They feel this, they take this in with their physical senses. The other way in which they're able to sense is through their ability to sense energy. So we know, I know you talk to wonderful people on your show, talk all about energy. We know everything is energy. We're made of it, we're surrounded by it, we're connecting with
Everything's
it.
energy.
That's right. Everything on the planet, every being,
The
the
wall, the
unified
shelf,
field, we're
plants,
connecting
yeah.
to energy all of the time. And horses live in a state of constant and vigilant attunement to the energy within them and around them. And where that is really cool in equine guided healing work, how this why horses, how this answers that question, is that they experience us as energy. Our emotions, our intentions, our wounds, trauma, areas in our body where the energy has gotten stuck, they experience that as energy. They just take it in, and they don't judge it, which is another element that makes equine guided healing so beautiful. They're not in a position to judge. They're compassionate beings, and they hold space for what it is they're witnessing and perceiving. But it's in the interest of their survival as prey animals to respond to what they're picking up.
Right.
So when you enter the sacred space of the round pen or the paddock with a horse, and you're making a conscious connection with a horse, and I'm guiding you through, but it's you and the horse in this sacred interaction. The horse sees you as you are, not as you're hoping to be, you're pretending to be, you're, trying to put a smile on and just be positive.
They see you as you.
As you are, and they often recognize elements of you, especially when they're sensing emotion as energy. And we talk about, in the healing work, we talk about emotion as energy in motion. That's what emotion is.
Right.
They often experience and sense into elements of you that you are not even aware of yourself. So that's where the potential for healing trauma comes in. Stuff that we've buried and shoved down and labeled awful, shameful, unworthy, and relegated to the darkness. They see it. And this is why they're called divine mirrors sometimes. They reflect back to you through their response to you what they're picking up from you. So you are offered an invitation then at this point. The curious mare, that's a female horse.
Right.
If she won't let you get in her space, she's telling you something about you. A gregarious gelding, I think of your beloved
Rolex.
Rolex, I always do this. How do I remember his name? Rolex. If he's pushing into your space, he's telling you something about you. And when we recognize, okay, something's going on here. He's responding to me in a certain way. What's going on? You're invited into this space with the horse. And it's how you respond to the invitation that really marks that next step into profound healing and clarity and transformation. Because it isn't a mental intellectual exercise. It isn't talk therapy. It's experiential.
Yeah.
It's you go into, basically you're entering into an altered state of consciousness. Horses live in the present moment. Their survival, again, depends on it. They're always in the present moment. And when we consciously connect with them, we entrain with their heart rhythms. Those heart rhythms slow us down. We are brought into stillness. We're invited into this deep, deep connection into our deep selves that really does go beyond thinking, analytical, left brain, mind. We enter into this horse-like way of being, this right brain, intuitive, somatic is your body, and that's when insights arise that really just aren't available to your thinking mind.
Okay.
And that's where, that's where I call everything magic. Well, that's where the magic happens. That's where healing.
I got to witness this summer
Well, experience.
experience it when I took her course.
Well, just a session.
A very
So I
small
don't teach
session.
it.
A small
You just,
session.
No, but you participate. When you
Yeah.
opened your beautiful,
It
beautiful
was-
heart to a healing session with
Yeah,
the horses.
it was eye-opening and a half. Like, wow. Never thought in my life that I would get hugged by a horse, but I was.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
me being afraid of horses, but loving them from the distance, in a lot of ways, very parallel to your life. Like wanting horses in my life, but never having them in my life, but always being drawn to them. So when I had this opportunity with you to experience it, it was like, what did I just do? And it was like, and this horse, the first moment I saw him and I stepped out of the car and I was talking to these horses in this pen, this one horse got my attention. And him and I were just like connected. It was like he was drawn to me and I was drawn to him. And I was telling her about him because I got there before her, or before you came out. You were at the back and you came out, And she's like, that's funny. She goes, because that horse, everybody considers him trouble. And I says, it's funny because I see him as so majestic, right? And he was just attracted me, and we were just connected. Every single moment that I would come back to the yard, we would connect. And we had a moment to connect, and it was just so, it was like, it was just so overwhelming, like to have that, to be able to stand there and know that I had my hands on this horse, this very big horse to boot.
Yeah.
And he put his head over my shoulder and pulled me in for a hug. And it was like, I was in tears. It was just like so beautiful and so
So did you
majestic.
overcome your fear?
Yes. Very
That was
much
it.
So,
That
yeah.
was it, right?
Oh yeah. It was like, it just made me so much more attracted to them and so much more comfortable with them and not so insecure about them. Like it was magical. Magical.
Sounds beautiful.
It was.
Well, attraction-wise, one of the things we talk about with the horse work is a heart connection. So we're connecting with the heart. And the Institute of Heart Math in California has done all of these studies on the human heart and the hearts of other animals. They have determined that the electromagnetic field of the human heart is 60 times greater, or the electric field 60 times greater in amplitude, magnetic field 100 times greater in magnitude than that of your brain. Okay, so just like
That says
sit
a lot.
with it. There are
yeah, it says a
neurons,
lot.
right? Those are the brainy parts in your gut, and there are neurons in your heart, and they travel upward. The brain is not running the show. Your brain is wonderful and important and super amazing, but it is not running the show. That's an outdated paradigm of thought. Your heart is the most powerful transmitter and receiver of information in your body. And they've studied horses. Not surprisingly, given their size, the horse's electromagnetic field is 5 times greater than ours, and their heart rate 3 times slower. So I talked about that with entrainment before. When you enter the space, you begin to breathe with the horse, and then that's what quiets your left brain and sparks intuition and divine connection and insight. But with you, with Rolex, that when you're telling me that story, and I think of you connecting from across a fence, that's what that is the fields, you know, and so there's a synchrony there and a resonance that, I'm not even at that barn anymore, but I want to
I know.
because he would have so much to teach like
Yeah.
that. So we'd be so curious, what is that resonance?
Yeah.
And then the more time you spend, and that comes out wordlessly, not intellectually, you would know this is his teaching for me, or this is what he sees in me that he wants me to see and recognize in myself.
Yeah.
Or maybe you got it. Maybe the hug was.
Yeah. Remember, I told you I felt like he was misunderstood. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, right. People saying, "Oh, he's a
He's
pain in the arse."
yeah,
that was
because
their.
I said he's just misunderstood. He wants attention. He just wants to be loved. He was wonderful.
Well, even so, Brandy too.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I know
She was
there's
pregnant at the time,
confidentiality, but that I won't tell secrets. But she pushed like so gorgeous, ginormous, pregnant mare. Cindy was connecting with her in a reflective exercise, and she pushed her belly right into Cindy's receiving hands for Cindy's own beautiful insight and healing. Like, and they don't. A thing with prey animals too. Nothing is accidental. No movement, because they need to conserve energy. So everything they do is intentional. So it's really powerful work when you're committed to connect in that way. You just what you are able to receive, and then the healing, the clarity, right? Because then we get rid of the muddle of our minds and the thoughts and the doubts and indecision. We just see with clarity. And the transformation then that's able to take place. It's really powerful. And then you smell good because you smell like a horse.
It's a nice smell.
It is.
I love horses. I used to have them.
Really?
Yes, when I was younger, yeah. Beautiful.
I'm
See, I
jealous.
just love this.
But she passed away a long time ago. And I haven't had a horse since.
You have been an absolute joy. We love having you here.
I talked for 4 hours.
Oh, you did.
I loved sharing with you
This
guys.
was so much fun. Thank you so
It
much for
was.
being here and enjoying us with us.
Oh, thank you. You guys are
And to explain
lovely.
what the feel was and, about the horses and everything. That was excellent.
Oh, thank you. You're welcome
So
back to the
please,
barn.
next time on Big Talk, join us on all the social media, on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube, and on Instagram. And be sure to follow us on YouTube so that you can watch each of our episodes. And we'll see you next time.
Hit the red button, subscribe.
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 Thank you so much.
Oh, thank
you.
you,
Thank
guys.
you. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us today on Big Talk. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Until next time on Big Talk.